All right, everybody, welcome back to Matt Money. Welcome back to another launch here on the Matt Money channel. This will be the fourth launch in which we are doing on the Matt Money channel. So excited to be involved with you guys. Excited once again to be able to look at another launch. It's been 3 months or so since we've been able to do so. So just give me a minute here and I will be sharing the Rocket Lab launch for us, and we'll be co-streaming it just through there. And this one shouldn't be too hard. We'll just sham up this bad boy. And of course, we'll get the audio on. Just let me know if you guys can't hear that. But excited to be back. 15 of you guys already in the stream. As always, anyone here watch Succession? Garcia, you're my guy. But always excited to have a Rocket Lab launch on a hot Thursday afternoon here in Houston, Texas. So excited to see how this goes. We are 12 minutes from launching this candle, and hope Roman isn't in charge of launch. Jesus Christ. Garcia. Anyway, excited is a word I would like to use with today. I always get very emotional. So if you see a tear drop from my left or right eye, do not make fun. I am a proud American. And whatever happened to a good old Pledge of Allegiance? Can I hear it in the chat? Can I please? No, just joking. We were joking about that earlier. Me and some buddies were on Discord playing God knows what video game. And we were just like, whatever happened to saying the damn Pledge of Allegiance? Waking up every morning, hand over heart. Yeah, just pledging your good old love. Good old love to the
LD on mission.
To the good old American
the count imminently.
States.
Please be prepared for the go no go poll. We'll get straight into that as the count resumes. But please raise any issues if you see immediately.
All right, we're gonna go with the go no go. I guess 12 minutes T minus. Hopefully everything goes well. And to the Republic, exactly, to which it stands, one nation under God. Although this is happening from New Zealand, so I guess we can't be too American, right? Hot Coal, my guy. Thought you were working today, my guy. I really appreciate you stopping by. Hot Coal is the guy that even told me in 2021, March of 2021, February 2021. There's this company that's SPACing, Vector Acquisition Group.
Stations, the count has been resumed. We'll be proceeding straight into the go no go sequence.
Stage. Hell yes.
Stages go.
I'm getting fired up.
Avionics is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
Vcon.
Vcon is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLS.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
RF.
RF is go.
MM.
MM is belt.
LD Shadow.
LD shadows go.
LD Sup.
LD sub is go.
Okay, all stations, the go no go sequence is complete. We are T minus 11 minutes and 8 seconds and counting. We are go for terminal count at T minus 10 minutes. And from this time, the 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
That was Mission Control reporting Electron systems and the IQPS payload on board are confirmed healthy and good to go for an on-time launch. The range is ready to support. The weather continues to look good for liftoff at 5:05 local time or 4:05 a.m. UTC.
All right, I'm ecstatic. Okay, so we got 10 minutes till this bad boy. So some people were asking about the stock in the chat here. So excited to kind of go through this. Let's see. Let's roll up to the top, see what we got in here. Map money to 0, always, my guys. Always to 0. Always. We got Hot Scott in here. Can't complain with that. Defini, it's been a minute since I've seen you, my guy. Glad you're here. There's a Rocket for sure. We got Junebug, as always. We got John. I know he's an avid Rocket Lab follower himself. We got Zocold. George with the J, part of the Money Gang. As is Dean Pierce, part of the Money
mission is
Gang.
heading to a 575-kilometer circular Earth orbit at a 42-degree inclination to add IQPS's next SAR satellite to its growing smallsat constellation. With its constellation, IQPS is aiming for frequent Earth observation day and night that can contribute to social issues such as disaster prevention, defense, and environmental research. Here's more from the IQPS team.
Our company IQPS is developing small SAR satellites.
Asking you shall receive.
in Fukuoka, which is located in Kyushu, Japan, and currently operating 3 satellites. The Kyushu, this region has a good environment with the rocket launch facilities, a history of high-quality manufacturing in industries like automobiles, and educational opportunities in space engineering. Our founder established IQPS in Kyushu with a mission to develop the space industry in this region, and we have carried on that mission by launching QPSR project in Kyushu and advancing the construction of a satellite constellation. Looking beyond that, our vision is to make Japan the birthplace of space innovation from Kyushu and to free people from anxiety and support their daily lives through satellite. The launch by ELECTRON into our dedicated orbit is a strong tailwind towards the realization of our vision. So we are very excited with local government and partner companies in Fukuoka who have been cooperating with us.
Currently, QPSR provides world-class high resolution and high image quality, enabling us to observe the Earth at 46 centimeter resolution. Our future plan is to launch a total of 36 satellites.
Did the audio just get weird for you guys too?
Near real-time observations at around 10-minute intervals.
There we go.
By utilizing this high-frequency, high-resolution data, we envision contributing to the disaster management, infrastructure monitoring, and creating safe, secure communities in every day.
750 kilograms is the payload max.
And combined and analyzed with other valuable data, we think we will be able to foresee the future one step ahead. And by being able to see a step ahead future, we believe we can liberate people from uncertainty and make people's life more efficient and productive.
I don't think they require uranium now. About like 95% sure.
Still, there's a long way to go to achieve this, but we hope one day our data will become the backbone to foster a new, sustainable, and valuable environment for the world. It was this early April when we asked Rocket Lab if there's an available launch spot for our satellite. On behalf of IQPS, I would like to appreciate to all the Rocket Lab members for the hard work in making our satellite be launched in this revolutionary short period. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
All right. So yeah, there was a
We're
few
thrilled
questions.
to be launching IQPS on the Electron's 42nd mission today. Now, this mission is our 10th launch for the year so far, making 2023 our busiest launch year to date. Now, as we wait for liftoff, let's take a closer look at the numbers behind Electron launches.
So some questions.
Welcome to Electron by the Numbers. Electron first took to the skies in 2017, and today we've launched 41 Electron rockets and counting. Electron's first stage is powered by 9 3D printed Rutherford engines, while the second stage has just one vacuum-optimized Rutherford engine. To date, we've launched 409 Rutherford engines to space. Why not 410? Well, recently, we reflew a Rutherford engine to space for the first time after recovering it on a previous mission. So this hardworking engine has done double duty. But Rutherford isn't the only type of engine on Electron. There's a single small but critical engine on Electron's kick stage called Curie. This reliable engine is used to circularize our orbit for payload deployment and can perform multiple burns to deploy multiple payloads to different orbits on the same mission. Electron launches from 3 pads. 2 are located at our private orbital launch site in New Zealand, and a third in Wallops, Virginia. So
I don't have the
far,
evil
we've
laugh
launched
like
38
Bezos,
missions
though.
From Launch Complex 1 and 3 from Launch Complex 2, with more coming up. It takes Electron roughly 9 minutes to go from liftoff to orbit, reaching speeds of up to 27,000 kilometers per hour along the way. At liftoff, Electron weighs about 13,000 kilograms, and around 12,000 kilograms of that is liquid oxygen and kerosene.
Damn it. They're taking all my material, my guy.
170 satellites have been successfully deployed to orbit by Electron, usually to an orbit between 500 and 1,200 kilometers, but sometimes all the way to the moon.
Luke's been asking about
And
what
behind it all
fuel.
stands a dedicated team of hundreds of
Video
engineers,
stealing my damn
technicians,
shit.
operators, and supporting team members who make Electron one of the world's leading launch vehicles.
All right.
It's easy to forget to stop and smell the roses, but it is amazing to see those numbers.
Now, back on the pad, we are tracking no issues with the launch vehicle. IQPS's payload remains healthy, and the weather is looking green for an on-time launch. So here's what you can expect next. At T-minus 2 minutes, the flight computer on Electron will take over the launch countdown. Then at T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds, we should hear the call that LOX loading is complete on Electron.
Shortly after that, at T-minus 1 minute, we can expect confirmation that the launch vehicle's first and second stages are pressurized for launch, followed by the final countdown to liftoff at T-minus 10 seconds. Let's hand over now to Mission Control.
So they used to do the rocket captures by the helicopters, and they decided that wasn't safe. So they actually ceased doing that. Now they're trying to land them safely in the ocean and recover them and then refurbish them for relaunch. They were talking about that Rutherford engine, which landed safely into the ocean. They refurbished that and they've launched it again. They're trying to undergo if they can do the hull, which is this part here, the same to basically land it and basically refurbish it. So they've recovered one or two, and I think for next year they have, I don't remember how many planned for reusability, but that's the kind of goals to make it more sustainable in the long term. That's going to help increase gross margins and hopefully get it close to a 50% gross margin overall, which is a step in the right direction considering last quarter alone they were at about adjusted gross margin about 22%. So hopefully continued into the up and right direction. No, they have not launched since their failure. This is the first time. They were supposed to launch at the end of November. That's been pushed to today and will hopefully be a successful launch. Yeah, they launch at a couple places. So they have 2 launch pads here in New Zealand, which is where they're launching from today.
Avionics batteries have switched to internal power. Ground power is disabled. Vehicle is fully on internal power.
And I have streamed
APS is green and enabled for flight.
I've streamed last year their first launch from Virginia, or maybe it was early this year, I don't remember. But that one was called Virginia's for Lovers, and that was their first launch from Wallops, Virginia. And that's also tentatively where they're going to launch all their HASTE missions, which is their non-orbital, their suborbital launch vehicle that they're planning on using for defense potentially.
Complete. System is in recirculation.
And there's rumors as to why that's why they bought the Maryland factory that's been in plenty of Department of Defense contracts for dozens upon dozens, if not 50 or so plus years. So hopefully
is disabled.
Hopefully that's part of the reason as to why they bought that Maryland facility. And that's the rumor. And apparently that they're wondering who actually used it because they didn't have CapEx or anything to get that facility. People are thinking that that's potentially through contracted prepayments from other
2 tanks are pressed.
From other contractors, and I guess we'll hear more about that in the 4th Q earnings call, probably in the February timeframe. Yeah, I've never been so nervous for one of their launches either. Normally it's excitement. But yeah, here we are, 30 seconds, T-minus. So this is the foundational piece. So hopefully a successful 2024 with 22 launches.
20 seconds and counting.
In the flight cadence for next year. This will be the 10th launch for 2023. The first launch since their failure back in
10,
September timeframe.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Let's fucking go! go, 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 go. God, these things get me so excited. All right, about a minute 30.
Electron has lifted off from Launch Complex 1, and we are 34 seconds into our flight. With Electron now clear of the pad, soon we will approach max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure, the moment of the most amount of stress against the rocket. So let's listen in for the call from Mission Control that Electron has passed max Q.
Let's go, boys and girls.
Vehicle supersonic, approaching max Q. High voltage discharge, nominal.
All right, we're about a minute away from the second stage
Cleared max
and
Q.
separation. That was the problem about a month or a couple months ago.
And there you have it. Electron has cleared max Q. A beautiful and nominal mission so far. Now up 15 kilometers in altitude as the rocket reaches speeds of more than 2,100
Look how beautiful
kilometers.
it is, man. Look at that beautiful
Next up
ocean.
are 3 mission milestones that happen in quick succession. First up, we have MECO, or main engine cutoff. This is when all 9 Rutherford engines on the first stage throttle down and then shut off completely. Very quickly after that, we have the separation of the first and second stages, and you'll see that main booster tank fall away from Electron's second stage. We then have the ignition of the single Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage, as the mission continues to orbit. Those calls should be coming up from our operators and mission control very shortly.
I'm nervous, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kind of nervous. All right, here we go. We got like 15, 20 seconds.
Stage 1 propulsion holding nominal. Stand by for MECO in roughly 30 seconds.
$15 seconds to MECO.
Entered burnout detect mode.
All right, moment of truth, boys. 10 seconds.
MECO confirmed.
Stage separation successful.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
I think we're good, boys. I think we are good, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell from that applause, we have had a successful MECO stage separation and second stage engine start for Electron. Up next will be the fairing jettison, where the 2 halves of Electron's protective fairing split and fall away from the vehicle to expose IQPS's satellite to space in preparation for payload deployment. And we might see those 2 halves on screen too as we clear that next milestone.
Yeah, so the company is gross profit. They do make a gross profit about 22% at the moment.
Fairing jettison succeeded.
That was them there on your screen. Electron's fairing halves have fallen away as planned. At 3 minutes and 42 seconds into the mission, the single Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage continues to burn bright as we make our way to orbit.
High voltage battery
We have a
discharge,
new
nominal.
view of the engine's nozzle that includes a nitrogen bottle that you can see on the top left of your screen, which has been introduced as part of an update to the second stage system. Now, this is providing pressurized gas to the enclosure covering the second stage electrical system, helping to minimize the chances of electrical arcs.
Stage 2 propulsion nominal.
Soon we'll reach a mission milestone unique to Electron, the battery hot swap. Electron's fuel pumps are battery powered, and once we deplete the first set of batteries, they're of no use to us anymore. And so we swap them out with a fresh set, ejecting the depleted ones so that they don't hitch a ride to orbit.
So I wanted to make sure everyone heard that about the battery power for the second stage. This is actually a South Korean satellite that they're launching to be able to help them with some of the. They did a brief video about it. I'll maybe pull it up after we get a little bit further into the stream. But I think that this is a good thing for South Korea to also be involved, because you also have now Japan, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, America. I'm curious to see what other countries will sign up next. But if these are, say, preferred partners that we can continue to rely on, South Korea launches a lot of rockets, and not necessarily will you have to rely on only SpaceX. You could rely on a smaller rocket like Electron, or even a medium-sized rocket like Neutron. So hopefully that continues. But going back to what is this Japanese? Hold on, you might be right. I might be thinking of a different one. IQPS. I was reading so many different articles, so I think you might be right, Chris. You're right. This one is the Japanese one. Sorry. Yes, they just announced the one. Let me share this specifically. Thanks for the reminder there, Hot Chris. Here we go. The one that I was thinking about was the contract that they got for second quarter of next year for North Korea. So this one is specifically Japanese. So thank you for the correction there, Hot Chris. But basically going to be able to provide high resolution images of Earth, and hopefully they'll have a 36 satellite constellation capable of monitoring Earth every 10 minutes or so. So very excited associated with that. These are good contracts to be able to have. Of course, being able to have these people, all these different governments in your back pocket is going to be able to provide lots of revenue streams. So all the folks from Australia, New Zealand, and many other places, all going to be
successful.
Very useful in the future. Not Korea, not North Korea.
That battery hot swap is confirmed, and the mission is proceeding as planned. In about 3 minutes, Electron's second stage will experience SECO, or second engine cutoff. Now, much like main engine cutoff, the stage 2 Rutherford will throttle down before the kick stage separates as it continues on to payload deployment.
Chris, I thought it was Japanese, and everyone's just getting on me after saying North Korea. I'm so used to talking that damn war crimes. Yeah. He's over there like Birdman, just... We finally got it up there.
HVB battery discharge holding nominal.
Oh, man.
A quick check in on the dials at
a sigh of relief from your boy.
Seconds. Electron is traveling at a speed of over 17,000 kilometers per hour and approaching an altitude of about 242 kilometers, which with some quick maths brings us another 300 or so kilometers to go in this mission. Now, after we reach that target, we will have a coast phase of about 45 minutes as the kick stage scoots around the other side of Earth and back into position, ready for payload deployment.
How about the quality of this dang camera? I haven't seen this before. Normally the second stage camera is always pretty dang good. I don't know what's going on with this one, but yes, I am very excited. That was a sigh of relief earlier, not a sigh of frustration, not a sigh of being tired. That is a sigh of relief from Houston, Texas, watching this bad boy take off from New Zealand. Yes, I did have flashbacks when that was going up in the air. I was thinking initially when I didn't see the red hot, you know how this thing is showing up like red hot. When initially I saw like the flame kind of come out and it just kind of dissipated, I was like, oh shit. And then I started to see it get hot and I was like, all right. And they said ignition. I said, okay, are you sure about that? And it took me about 5 seconds to be like, not say anything because I honestly didn't think that it lit, but very excited that it lit. So I am super pumped. This is going to be a fundamental piece of getting everything back up and to the right for Rocket Lab, going to the moon,
25 seconds remaining.
Venus, Mars,
As
and
we
also
mentioned before, one of the final milestones coming up for this mission is SECO. Now, we will see the second stage engine throttle down ahead of shutoff. Then the kick stage, which the satellite is attached to, will separate and begin its coast phase. So let's listen in to mission control for the calls.
started position of Rocket Lab today. Been looking at it for almost a year now. Finally pulled the trigger. Welcome
SECO confirmed
to the family, my guy Mark. Welcome.
Transfer orbit achieved. And stage 3 separation confirmed.
And with that, the
Oh,
regular
man.
engine
Am
on
I
Electron's
ecstatic.
second stage has successfully shut down, and stage 2 and the kick stage have cleanly separated. The kick stage will now enter what we call a coast phase. For the next 45 minutes or so, the kick stage will be in an elliptical orbit around Earth before the Curie engine ignites, raising the kick stage's perigee to put us in a circular orbit. From here, we will deploy IQPS's Tsukuyomi satellite to its destination in orbit.
The North Korean
So
satellite.
while we wait for that deployment, we'll take a break on the webcast now and be back with you at around T plus 50 minutes. See you back here soon.
All right, now we have a little bit of time to chit chat about the stock itself, if anybody's curious about what's going on. But I was talking specifically earlier about, let me just turn this music down, although it's nice to listen to. It might be a little bit too loud. Or we're trying to have after hours with Manny Mullah talking about the stock. So got people signing off now. Appreciate that. If you guys are interested, please subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing more of these launches in the future. But to me, I like this company because I think we're in a place where this thing is getting to a point where cash burn is continuing to reduce quarter after quarter. And I think within the next 12 to 24 months, we will be cash flow break even on the precipice of getting a medium launch rocket into space. So for me, I think this is a good opportunity. If you have a little bit of time, I think that there is opportunities to further de-risk. This was step one. And then also moving into the end of the year, further testing of, say, the medium launch vehicle components, like some of the fuel tanks and everything of the like, will continue to take place. So with that, there's going to be certain milestones that need to take place. In fact, let me pull it up. The milestones that they kind of wanted to get into the 3Q timeframe that they did not. And so certain people think that this means that Rocket Lab is behind with respect to getting the rocket or the Neutron rocket specifically into orbit by the end of 2024 or having a first successful launch. But I think that these things are something that don't necessarily take too long to be able to get up to speed. So let me just share this. So this was basically what was shared in the 3Q earnings report. So all these different components that were tested, combustion device, stage 2 tank, the actuator motor controlling, the engine stage controller functional testing, thermal protection. But the things that weren't tested were the fairing and upper module tooling, hardware and the loop flight to orbit, the Archimedes engine build specifically. But they did several other things that were huge in order to get them back onto the pad here at the end of 2024 timeframe. So I think that it's not like they are super behind when it comes to what they wanted to do in Q3. And I think that they're continuing to show a lot of progress with the entirety of the company, with haste bookings, 7 secured haste bookings for next year and in 2025 as well. The global star production, which is supposed to happen in Q1 2024. A lot of things that are doing extremely well. The Psyche mission that was launched by SpaceX, this is the satellite solar panels for the satellite that were just put up into space, and that was in collaboration with SpaceX and with NASA. And so in that respect, you have a lot of cool things going on at this company that's not just a launch company, as we just saw them launch Electron into space. They're an end-to-end space company. Anything that you need. Here's the solar panels that they had for the Psyche mission. They're building Photon spacecraft for folks to be able to launch satellites into space. They have software that you can use. They have Electron. They're going to have Neutron. They're going to have so many different things and a plethora of different opportunities. Do you only need to launch 6 satellites into space? Hey, here you can use the Electron. Oh, you want to get Neutron into space? Well, here's 15,000 kilograms that you can use to be able to get your products into space. So I think overall, this is going to be something that continues to be a company that grows well above a $2 to $2.5 billion market cap as it shows today. I think this is going to build itself as a staple, not only for defense within the United States, but also space exploration, not only for the United States, for New Zealand, for Australia, for Japan, as we demonstrated today, not North Korea, but South Korea. And I think you'll see other companies in countries continue to utilize this. Global Star is being used on behalf of Apple. That's going to be showing up in 2024. You have Black Star continuing to use these. Capella Space with respect to trying to start a new industry with 0G for pharmaceuticals, for software components, silicone components, all those things. So it's a lot of opportunity that I see that this company being at the forefront of, and a very large total addressable market. And I think what you're going to see is, unfortunately, this company and this stock is being dragged through the mud based off of what's going on in other companies. You have companies like Virgin Orbit going bankrupt, which these guys purchased a lot of their facilities and printers for a fraction of the actual cost, $16 million in Q2. You have other companies like Astra and Velo 3D, which are struggling to pay their bills and hopefully trying to just secure their basically life until the end of the year, based off their lack of cash positions. These guys, on the other hand, have $380 million in cash. Their cash burn is continuing to decrease quarter after quarter. Their Neutron is coming to a close. I think that their cost spending associated with Neutron is going to shrink immensely over the next 12 months. And so by the time they get this thing on the pad, they'll probably still have over $200 million in cash, and their cash burn will probably only still be $20 to $25 million a quarter. And eventually, with that, they're going to be able to start taking customers for their Neutron launch vehicle. And next year alone, as Alex Spice mentioned, their CFO, they basically said, or I like to call him the Spicer. He basically, I meant Adam Spice, not Alex Spice. He is specifically going to. He specifically talked about how in the 3Q earnings call, they are planning on getting a 50% gross margin for the Electron rocket. So what does that mean? It means if they are able to send a rocket up into space for $7 million, $3.5 million of that is going to go towards fuel and getting the rocket made itself. And the other $3.5 million is going to be able to go towards paying employees and actually getting profits back into the company. So 50% for a rocket launch is great. And the thing that I'm curious about, does that include reusability for, say, the hull, reusability for Rutherford engines? I'm not sure. But we will find out more of that, not in 2 years, 3 years. We'll find out more about that if the launch cadence is successful in Q1 of 2024. And why Q1 of 2024? Because they're supposed to get 5 or 6 launches in the first quarter of next year. And if they do that, we'll be able to see what the true gross margin is. And we'll hold Adam to answering that question again in Q1 of next year, which will probably be a May timeframe, of how is the gross margin looking for Electron? Are we getting into the 40s? Are we getting close to 50%? And he said straight up, at a 24 per annum launch cadence, which we are forecasting for 22 next year, at a 24 per annum launch cadence, we are supposed to get close to 50%. So that, coupled with him stating that we've seen none recently of space systems components getting a gross margin of less than 30%, I anticipate that once this thing gets up and running, this thing will be making a 35, 40% gross margin. Now, of course, you still have to pay for employees, you still have to pay for R&D, you still have to pay for stock-based compensation. But I am confident that within the next 2 years, after all this spend for Neutron starts to shrink and shrink and shrink, that over time, they will be a very profitable company. And I think when that happens, it's going to happen fast. And especially if you're able to get a gross margin of, say, 50% for the Neutron, which will be reusable, by the way. And it might take a few landings and tries for it to truly be something where it's reusable like the Falcon 9. But I'm very confident that once they get that done, gross margins for that will be huge. So anyway, let us ask any questions in the chat. And how quickly do I think they'll need to raise cash again? You know, I think that that's something to consider for next year. They do have a $100 million bond outstanding. And I think that they're in a good enough place right now where they can reissue that bond. And it's actually not that unfavorable of a rate at the moment. But by July of next year, they have a $100 million bond that's due. So whether or not they repay that and just live off the cash that they have, I don't think that they would. I think it's too early. But I think the fact that they're closer and closer to the Neutron rocket launch, I think that they can get a lot of loans from a lot of people, specifically now that they're getting closer and closer. They have 40 odd launches under their belt, 42nd launch after this one today, 10th launch this year. And I think that with that, it's going to be a lot easier than somebody like an Astra or a Relativity to get money. But granted, Relativity's been able to get some pretty good money over the past few years as well, probably because of who they have on their board. Let's just see. I think I skipped over some questions. Let's skip up. More shares getting bought tomorrow. Build Star Labs. Don't put it past Rocket Lab. They're potentially going to do that. Don't think it's how it works. Particle accelerators are used for research and not controlled by any corporations. More like government grants. Interesting. I have 6,000 shares, not 10. I wish I did. I'll get to 10 soon enough. Luke's trying to create a black hole, probably. Happy for your Rocket Lab position. Always happy to cover, my friend. I like this one. No to this one. I don't think they'll have to raise cash soon, but you never know. You really don't. When do you expect Rocket Lab to be cash flow positive? I think at the second half of next year. Vince and a few other people, think that it's probably unlikely. I think that a lot of the costs associated with Neutron are winding down. But maybe I'm a crazy person. I think towards the second half of next year, with the increase in revenue, hopefully closer to $400 million next year compared to the $200 million we'll get this year for revenue, doubling of revenue overall at a 30 to 35% gross margin. I think we'll be close. We'll be closer to break even than I think people think. And especially if you reduce the operating expenditures with R&D, which is obviously focused towards Neutron, I think you'll get closer and closer than anybody thinks. Your dream would be Palantir, to work for them. That would be cool. Palantir is in Denver, but you might be, to help set up stuff, you might be embedded in certain companies. People had to sit with us over here in Houston to work with Palantir, if you remember. Invest 1,000 in Rocket Lab and hold for 10 years. Let me talk about this for a second. What is your goal, right? And think with the end in mind. Rocket Lab is a $2 billion, $2.5 billion company. Maybe it's best we take a brief hiatus from this and show this. What is your objective with Rocket Lab? We're at $5.20, $2.5 billion market cap as of today, about just under a hair under 500 million shares for the company. What's your goal, guy? Is your goal to be a quadrillionaire? Is your goal to get a $100,000 position? Because if you put $100,000 or if you put $1,000 into this, it's very unlikely you'll make $100,000 off of that. Unless you think that Rocket Lab is going to be a $250 billion company. And very much, maybe it goes way better than we all forecast, and this is the premier space systems company and ends up being a $200 billion company. For now, I just don't see it from there. There's a long way to go before that happens. So for me, I could see this being a $20, $30 billion company. So in that respect, that'll turn your $1,000 into $20, $30 billion maybe, if there's not a lot of share dilution. So you have to think with the end in mind. I want this thing to eventually grow into a $200,000 position for me. So what did I do? I put close to 20 grand into it, and if it 10x's, hey, this now, I guess, close to 6,000 shares. This is close to a $30,000 position for me. Which I didn't even realize until just now. Is that right? Let me pull this up. Maybe I only have 5,000 shares. I could have sworn. Let's double check I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, cool. I get mixed up sometimes, boys and girls. Let's see. All accounts. Rocket Lab. Okay, so I have about 4,000 shares in one. Okay, yeah, yep. I have close to 6,000 shares. It's like 5,900 something. Because I have, in my one account, I have about 1,800 shares. Yep. Okay. So, yep. It's about 6,000 shares that I got. So, close to about 30,000. So, for me, if it 10Xs from here, I'd be close to 250, 300 grand. So, if it gets to a $25 billion market cap and little to no dilution. So think about it from your perspective. Where do you think that this is going to be? Where do you want it to be? And if you honestly are sitting here saying, I want it to be a $500,000 position, well, that might require some wishing, right? So I think it also depends on what other stocks you have and whether or not you can handle seeing $1,000 disappear. Because I'm 85% confident this company will make it out alive, but I'd say there's a 15% chance that, it runs out of cash, things become less successful. They go on a string of unsuccessful Electron launches. There's a black swan event. There's some sort of regulatory event that happens. There's a lot of different things that can happen that unfortunately can make this stock, obsolete. So, this gentleman's saying $20 by 2025. I hope so. But I'm fairly confident that this thing will 10X in the long term. Yes, Rocket Lab is trying to be an end-to-end space systems company. Satellites, solar panels, 2 different launch vehicles, software, America, New Zealand as one. Speculative for me is something maybe 500 to 1,000 shares. Hey, y'all have to realize what's appropriate for you, And I can't say that 500 to 1,000 is a lot or a little for you, You own LNT that has a Rocket Lab as an investment. That's awesome. What's the future path with the HASTE rocket? They haven't really released much other than specifically what was in their 3Q earnings, which was talking specifically about how they've gotten more and more HASTE launches for 2025 with different customers. So I'm really kind of curious what's going to happen with HASTE, but it seems like it's going to be something that needs to pick up. And they just grabbed this whole Maryland facility. Did they talk about the Maryland facility in here? But for those of you that didn't see that news, let me pull that up. Investor FAQs news. Let's go here. Prepares the launch. This is where I got confused. It was, let me share this screen so you guys don't think I'm an idiot. I am an idiot, but here we go. This is why I got confused. This is the South Korean satellite thing that they're talking about in the first half of 2024. So that's why I got confused earlier. So here we go. Maryland. Let's just double check that this is sharing. Establish Maryland. Okay, cool. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So some people are speculating that this is specific towards HASTE and making sure that you have the ability to supply more and more HASTE rockets to Wallops, Virginia. And so this was started as the former Lockheed Martin vertical launch building in Middle River for aerospace manufacturing since 1929. So people are saying that this is going to help with respect to renovating the significant Baltimore County site, creating dozens of new jobs, supporting the region, will become a prominent, successful facility in the state. Let's just see. Where is this? I thought it had something specific talking about in here. I guess this is it. So, support is growing composite product line. Rocket Lab is establishing Space Structures Complex in Middle River, Maryland, which will support the development and manufacture of carbon composite spacecraft buses, structural panels, assemblies, satellite dispensers, aerostructures, heat shields, composite overwrap, pressure vessels, solar panel substrates, launch vehicle structures, and more. The site will also play a role in the development and long-term supply of composite structures, carbon composite structures for Rocket Lab's new medium lift launch vehicle, the Neutron. So that's a little bit of a piece for you guys to understand what's going on over in Maryland. But I think a lot of people also think that has something to do with HASTE as well. But here are idiot. Exactly. Let's just see. Where did I miss? Future plans. Playing the 2025-2026 calls for Rocket Lab. I don't think that's a stupid idea. Although I'd rather own shares because sometimes these things take time. And Neutron, I don't think will really start paying dividends out until 2026. Largest position is Palantir. Don't do calls. Personally, accumulating shares as much as you can afford Rocket Lab. I think that one's a good one. Not familiar with HASTE. HASTE, as we just saw, this was an orbital rocket for the Japan satellites to get out into orbit so they could circulate around the Earth. The HASTE rockets will be suborbit. So basically angled differently so that they're flying more at a horizontal rather than specifically vertical. So that way they can get out. As you kind of heard earlier when they were talking about the launch, they were saying that it was angled at a 42-degree sort of nominal trajectory. So they could obviously hopefully spin around the Earth. I'm not sure what the HASTE is, where they're planning to launch that and what kind of degree. And there's only been pictures online. They did live stream the first HASTE mission. I anticipate because there's probably Department of Defense contracts or issues associated with sharing that. We all know that happens from time to time for sure. Visit New Zealand one day and I'll drive you to the launch site, only 7 hours from Auckland. Absolutely. Would love to do that. Palantard. Let's just see here. Oh, I don't know why StreamYard is being slow. Maybe it's my internet. Not an idiot. You're a Palantard, similar but very different. Same, but different. New Zealand friend. Yes. I love my Kiwis, man. Kiwis are good people. Let's just see. So, Brad, we have BBQ at Christmas and we're a weird bunch. We did great, my guy. It was nervous. 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, but it was a good one. It was good. No problems. Yes, hypersonic for U.S. defense. Hot Kev for sure. Make Rocket Lab a much larger position. It's much larger for me. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. We could sit here and wait for this to potentially come back and chat. But at the end of the day, not 100% certain that that's necessary. I think that the hard part is over and done with. We've been live now for almost 50 minutes. Excited to see that the second stage went off without a hitch, and a huge foundational piece for going forward into 2024. I'm messing up, guys. I apologize. 2024, hopefully double the amount of cadence that we had from this year alone. And yes, with that, I will sign off. If Vince and Dave G are still streaming, I will probably head over there, see what they are doing. But other than that, things went well. I'm really excited about this. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue to have more and more streams on here in the future. If you guys could, though, before we sign off, if you could just take a moment to come over to the new streaming channel. We won't be doing Rocket Lab launches on here, but we will be doing Cashflow Chronicles. So if you guys do check out Cashflow Chronicles on a semi-regular basis, please be sure to sign up for that. Our goal is to get to 100 subscribers tonight, so we can get closer and closer to our 100 subscriber goal or 1,000 subscriber goal within the next few weeks. So hopefully you guys will be able to go over there. That's where me and Hot Chris will continue to do Cashflow Chronicles. And from time to time, I'll still do the Rocket Lab or Palantir or something like that over here on the Matt Money channel. But this will just help Chris and I be able to chronologue our videos about Cashflow Chronicles and hopefully garner a good enough audience over there to be able to expand into 5, 6, 7 days a week potentially over on the Cashflow Chronicles channel. As always, you guys are phenomenal. Thank you for watching Matt Money. Let me know of any thoughts that you guys might have for the future videos. I cover Palantir, Rocket Lab, Dutch Bros, and a few other companies. Chris obviously and I chat a lot about different companies on a weekly basis as well. But as always, it's a great time to be invested in the stock market. It's a great time to be invested in Rocket Lab. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Cheers. And I'll see you guys on Palantir Weekly tomorrow.